training, right? That's where you actually get the real feel of how hotels are and what is happening behind the scene, right? When I was doing my when I passed out of my college, I got an option of doing hotel management and electronics and telecom communication. And electronics and telecom communication was very new at that point of time because cell phones had just come into the market. It was the big thing which we all were seeing. Right? And I joined the engineering college because I never got my results from the national exam which you're supposed to give. So I thought I had not cleared that. And I was doing my college for about 25, 30 days. But after that, I got my results and I got through the college. And that's where I took the decision of leaving my electronics and telecom and moving into hotels. So my father, who of course is a hotelier himself, warned me saying that, you're leaving a field of electronics and telecom and getting into hoteliering. You're seeing the bright side of hotels because you see the lobbies, you see the swanky service, but there's a lot to do behind the scene. But I was very clear that I want to do it. And of course, it was just about getting into it. And from there on, of course, things went on. And I did my 3 years. I started my career, and I was majoring into food and beverage. And then, I started working with room service and with banquet operations. And I realized when I started working, the first 3, 4 years were tough years for me because there was a lot of hard work. I was a part of the opening of a new luxury hotel in Bombay, and there was a lot of expectations. And over 3, 4 years, there was a time when I felt that I should move out of the hotels. When 90% of the people then they try to do that, and I should join into maybe a BPO, retail, or something like that. And but at that point of time, then I was just having a chat with my family and uh, my close friends, and I think the discussion we had is that I spent 3 years of my life into training myself to become a great hotelier, right? And I'm getting into hotels. And after 2 or 3 years, I've decided to leave the major work gem, right? This is my core. If I get into a retail, if I get into a banking, right, I will get to a certain level, but I don't have the qualifications to probably get into the topmost level, right? And for that, I should have done banking or should have done something else. And I realized that I will grow faster initially, but then after some time, probably I'll get stuck. So I decided to not pursue anything else and stay with hotels. It was a tough decision because I was getting a great increase in salaries. I was getting a exposure to go to London and all those things. But now I think it's a great decision because what really made me grow was the passion, the journey which I enjoyed hotels, right? And with passion and the journey, of course, came success. And for me to move into different parts of the city, uh, I sometimes joke about how much I have moved. From my childhood to now, I've probably changed over 17, 18 houses, right? I've worked over 7, 8 cities already, right? And my family moves with me, so they're also moving to different places. But what you require is so much exposure. Right? India has different cities, and each state is like a country, right? Because there's a different food, different culture, different language. I've done my stints in South, I've done my stints in West, I've done in North, and now I'm in East. So you get an understanding of a 360 degree of how the country is working, and I can only tell you that it works. Of course, there's some things which are common, but a lot of things which are different. And to be truly successful, you have to immerse yourself locally, right? The locals have to accept you, and you have to accept the locals. So I don't know Bengali, and I don't understand that. But what connects between a good hotelier or any other person is great attitude and passion. Because what everyone understands is empathy, passion, love, care. Right? There's no language for that. And that makes a great hotelier, right? A hotelier has to connect with the people and back with strong operations, right? When you have a combination of these two, right, then you go and rise, right? And 90% of my work today is people management, right? About handling people. And sometimes you think that's the most easiest thing to do. Like easy. It's easy to do work yourself, but it's very difficult to get work done. Right? Try it at home, try with anyone else. right? It takes an effort, and that quality of getting the work done, right, to the expectation of the customer or exceeding expectations without you doing it is the art of hotelier, right? And that makes us unique. That makes this role unique, and that's why there are a lot of demand for a hotelier even outside hotels, right? Why would people from airline industry or from retail or from BPOs, why would they all want hoteliers? Because they can do things which others can't. The art of getting the work done, right? And these are the things which we learn in hotels. We learn in colleges. We learn in on the job training. We learn while we work. We learn through failures, right? And I was just reading an article today about very small article about failure. Maybe I can just probably make it a small summary of it. There was this interview happening with a scientist who was probably achieved a lot more than an average person, right? And the reporter was asking that how did you manage to achieve so much in a short span of time, better than anyone else? So his answer was, I achieved it because I learned what it's to learn from a failure, right? And then he enacted about a story where when he was a child and he was opening a refrigerator, the fridge, right? There was a milk bottle, and he was small, probably few maybe 6 7 years old, and he was trying to take that bottle of milk from the fridge, and he couldn't handle it, and the bottle fell down and it broke, and the milk splashed on the floor. So the mother came, right? Now, when the mother came, she didn't shout at the child. She said, "Wow, what a wonderful splash you made, right? And why don't you play around with milk before we start cleaning it, right?" And the child was confused because the child was in fear that I'm going to get scolding for this. But the mother said that you have splashed it, you play around, and now you will clean it, right? So the child learned that now he has to clean his own mess. So he cleaned the entire bottle, the milk, everything, and then they went to the garden. They took another bottle, filled it with water, went to the fridge, put it there back there, and practiced to take that bottle back in their hands. And over a period of 2 or 3 times, they got this right. So what the child learned that day, that because I failed, right, and my mother did not shout at me, she allowed me to make mistakes, right? I learned from failures. So what I'm only trying to tell all of you is, don't fear failures. 90% of the time, we don't do things because we think we're going to fail, right? The fear of what people are going to tell us, what society is going to tell us, what parents are going to tell us, what my friends are going to think about. And in this, the entire life goes, because you keep on thinking only about what others are going to think. But you don't realize that by getting into something, you may fail or you may succeed. But if you fail, you will learn from it. And you will learn things which others haven't learned. And hence, you will, next time when you try, you will succeed. Right? So these things we learn in textbooks, we read about it, but it's a real life lesson. And I feel we should learn. And this is the time to do and be okay with failures, because your next 3 years are not going to be all successful. You're not going to have the best time of getting 100% either in your theory or practice. You may not have the best guest interaction. You may not have the best boss. You may not have the best experience somewhere. But what you need to do is learn from that failure, right? And keep that attitude in your mind that, okay, I failed. What have I learned? And I'm going to not repeat, right? Because if you run away from it and don't face it, you'll never go ahead and never succeed. So that's very, very important. The other thing is, of course, I want to focus on the MOU which we have recently signed with IIHM. And I think with the great vision of Dr. Moose and the entire team, I think it's one of the great visions he had, and it finally came to light after COVID. And I think it's a great opportunity for all of you. With this MOU, of course, you get preference to work in any of the Marriott hotels, right? We have 3 hotels here in Kolkata, 1 in Siliguri, and 1 coming up in Shillong. And you get opportunities to work here and apply. When we know that we have a student coming from IIHM, we also give that preference. Of course, you have to ensure that you are within the framework of that qualification, right? But that opportunity is there for you, which probably may not be there for other people. Right? So use that opportunity to your advantage, right? We will have faculty members, we will have people coming in from our hotels to do some sessions for you over a period of next few months, right? And what it will bring you is, I never got that opportunity when I was in college, is that you actually get to know real life understanding of what's happening in hotels today. You become closer to reality, right? And the faster you're closer to reality, the faster you understand what's happening on the ground, the better you are prepared to get into the hotels with the right thought process. No? Because sometimes we are living in some world and then the reality is different, right? And I think Marriott will allow you to, will give you those exposures, or will give you those basics, understanding of what is it take or what is required to get into Marriott. Right? Today, Marriott has 30 brands, right? And it has over 8,000 hotels. It's the largest company in the world, right? And it's one of the fastest growing hotels company in the world also. In Asia Pacific alone, there are almost going to be 1,000 hotels soon. And India is the second biggest market after China. And it's growing phenomenally. We have over 130, 140 hotels. We're soon, over the next few years, going to cross 200 hotels, right? So the opportunities are immense, whether in India or outside. And what hotels need right now, because the supply is growing enormously well, right? After the COVID has slowed down, a lot of hotels are coming up because there was a vacuum for 2 years. So there's a huge requirement for manpower and trained people with right attitude, right? So you have the opportunity, you're entering, I would say you're entering the golden era of hospitality right now. I would say over the next few years, hotels are just going to be doing their best performance, and this is the right time to get there. But what you need to do is keep focused, have that attitude, continue to learn from your failures, and 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 be very clear on what you want. If you have any doubts, ask questions. Right? Today, internet is at your disposal, right? You can always read about the company. You can always read about various things. And since we will come for sessions, you can always have your list of questions ready, right? And that will help you to really, really prepare yourself. So that's all from my side. I want to firstly congratulate all of you to join the campus. I think it's a great start for your career, right? And please enjoy your time. It's not all about seriousness and just work. We always believe that it's important to also enjoy, learn a lot of things. There's a lot of learning you do in the college. You can do a lot of learning outside college also, right? The more you read, the more you understand, read books, right? You'll understand what's happening. Travel around hotels, spend money on experiences. I'm sure you go for your holidays, right? You go for your personal holidays. When you go on personal holidays, stay in a nice hotel. Okay, experience, spend money on these experiences. The more you, even today, I tell all my team members, go out, experience competition, understand what's happening. Because like you, we also want to know what are the new trends. How can we be trendsetters? Right? So for you to be successful, it's just not about learning through books. It's also about learning through real world. So wherever you go, experience hospitality, experience tourism, spend time, spend money there. Right? And that will be a great learning experience for you, right? Because you'll understand what's happening in various sectors. Okay? Yeah, that's all. Do you have any? I'm okay from my side. Yeah, thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Sumeet. So then, as I said, that you've just been, and I think the same thing we have been telling. Hospitality. I think two important points from what Sumeet said. I think the golden era of hospitality. So as I also told you on the day one, you have been very fortunate that you have entered the industry possibly in the best of the time. So by the time you graduate, it's going to peak. So, and so will be your career. And number two, I think learning inside and outside the classroom, very important. And at IIHM, we are very, very obsessed with that. Because as you see, we have already started taking you out. And this will go on for next 2 years, not just for the next month or so. And the MOU with Marriott is iconic. We have been absolutely delighted to sign it because the only institute in this part, and I think the only second institute in the country who have got this MOU of this kind, where you will be getting the opportunity or the preference, as the word he used, to do your internship at the Marriott hotels. Yeah, and it can be anywhere possibly, because you have to be smart enough, good enough to fit that Marriott profile, and also importantly, the Marriott managers will come and also do lectures with you, tell you about Marriott, tell you about the system, tell you about the SOPs, tell you more about the culture, which he mentioned very extensive, right? So if any question, one or two questions we can take, because we need to leave him because we have come at 10:30. So, and we have got other campus also with us. I can see a couple of directors as well. So any questions, quick questions, anybody? Anybody? Raise a hand. Don't be shy. No? Yes. Yes.
I have a question. How did
Name,
you face
name, name.
My name is Orko. Orko, my name is Orko. And I have a question that how did you face your hardships in your journey in the Marriott and journey from the starting the hotel industry?
No, I think hardships come for everyone, right? And it comes for us in our work and in our personal life, and it'll continue to come, right? It will continue to go on. It's not that hardships will be over, right? And if the higher you go, every time, like now, what happens with my mobile phones is if I get a call, right? I know it's the most important call, right? Otherwise, people won't call. If I'm getting a call at 3 in the morning, I know that's the most important call, right? Otherwise, they won't disturb. So over a period of time, I realized that, earlier I used to also get very worked up with small issues. I used to get very emotional about it. And that happens naturally with a lot of people. That, you start taking things very emotionally, right? And when emotions come your way, you stop thinking because you freeze. You don't know what to do. So hardships are all about really I would say mental balance, right? And for that, you need to do things which will distract you from these things. For example, I always say you need to have a good friend in your, like, you need to have good friends here. Like each one of you need to now make some good friends with each other, people whom you can talk to, whom you can talk about your problems, right? Your family, that's your biggest support, right? You should open up to your family about issues. Don't keep it in your heart. The more you keep it in you bottleneck it, the bigger it becomes difficult to get that over of that hardship, right? Third is, as I told you about failures, learn from the failures. Fourth, don't take things emotionally. Learn to be less emotional, right? And then over a period of time, you realize that handling hardships becomes a little easy, right? It's not, it depends from person to person. Each one of you have a different character, but these are the things which you learn. And that's how I learned over a period of time. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Hello, sir. This is Orko. I recently joined IIHM. I've been studying about the field of hospitality since I was in class. So I'm really interested in this field. So my question is to you, sir. There are grooming. In IIHM, it's all about grooming internally, both internally and externally. So what are the first two things which you notice in a person before talking to them, which creates an impression in your heart?
So I think the first and foremost is about, I would say, more than anything, it's about smile. Okay. I feel how you smile makes a huge difference, right? Because when you are in front of guests, right? Of course, you can smile even through mask. A lot of people ask me how will I smile while wearing a mask. But if you are smiling, your eyebrows are moved. Right? I don't know if you notice that. Right? So the person knows that you smile. So you can smile also while wearing mask. But smile, in my opinion, is the biggest because it's infectious. The moment you start smiling, things really go easy, right? The second thing is, I would say, of course, grooming is very important, right? Your basic grooming. That's why when a lot of people say that we live an army officer's life, right? Because in army or in a navy or air force or army, we are all taught about good cooking. And same way in hotels, we're always taught about good cooking, right? Shaving and how your hair should be, how you're wearing your uniform. You should take pride in what you wear, right? You should not wear anything inferior. Right? You should be you should get disturbed about it if something is not right. Trimming your nails, right? All those things, wearing the right socks, shoes, all those small things. You should spend at least, if you're getting ready in 10 minutes, there's a problem. You have to take time getting ready, right? Because that's when you can groom yourself. You have to spend time weekly, making sure that you are taking precautions with your hair and other things too. You are always set on. So how you look, right? So first is smile, how you look, of course. Third is, of course, how you speak and also how you empathize, or how your speech is, how you're thinking, how good listener you are. We don't want always people to be great orators. Sometimes I ask people certain questions and they just go on and on and on and on and on. And it's in the interview, they speak more and I speak less, right? So you have to learn to listen, right? And listening is different from hearing. Hearing is you just hear and you remove it, right? Listening is you understand, you process it, and then you ask the right questions. So listening itself is a big art. So these are the few things we look for in people, and it depends on which section you are in, whether you're in front office, F&B, kitchen, other areas, human resources, because then accordingly the qualities also change. Because if our objective is to put the right person for the right job, because that's where you succeed. If you put the wrong person in the wrong job, then even if the person is good, the person will fail. So that's what we look.
All right. There is a question coming from Delhi. Yes. Can we have the microphone? Yes, Delhi.
Good morning, sir. My name is Kriti Sharma. I am from Delhi campus. My question to you is, what are the basic changes one must adopt during the downfall and the hardships of the operation to keep on going and to keep motivated ourselves?
So, no, thank you. That's a nice question, and I think whether it's COVID or no COVID, every day when we start, right, we go through some great achievements and through some failures, and I think it's a question similar to what I think the team had asked right now, and the only way to self motivate yourself is to really go back and home and keep on telling yourself that what have I done well and what I've not done well. Sometimes, and honestly, this is true. Sometimes you not have always people coming and telling you've done a good job, right? And I also know sometimes that there are over 300, 350 associates and managers working in the hotel. I may not know who's done well today and who's not, right? So sometimes it's okay to pat yourself on the back, yourself, right? You don't need anyone except yourself. It's your mental ability to motivate yourself. You say, I've done a good job. This guest smiled because of me. This person, I did something nice for this person today. And I have done a good job and I'm happy with myself, right? I would say use that as a technique to self-motivate yourself. Do not always wait for someone to tell you that you're doing a good job. Because if you're consistent in your good job, people will notice you, right? And they will talk about you. But if you are always thinking that, oh, I need someone to tell me, I'm demotivated, it won't happen, right? It's also an art to be at the right place at the right time, right? So you need to know when you have to be at the right place. Because sometimes we're doing a lot of hard work, but we don't seem to be at the right place. So as a hotelier, as a good person, you need to know when I should showcase myself and what should I showcase, right? So these are things you have to learn by experience. Third, networking, right? Networking is the most important thing in our world, right? And of course, there's no better person than Dr. Bose, right? We all learn from him also. networking is critical. The more you network, the more people will notice, right? And there'll be moments where you will see that they will be happy with your performance and you will get motivated. But these are the things you need to do it yourself. That you need to start from there, right? But none better than patting yourself on the back.
So there's a question from Goa that can you hear?
Yes.
What are the qualities of a good leader as per you?
I always say that for a there are of course many qualities you need, but over a period of time I've realized one thing, and I've also done self assessments on myself over a period of time, and I realized that every human being has certain good qualities. Each one of you have good qualities. Like you know, what is important is you should know. Like some of you, if I plot a self assessment and you do all of you do a 360-degree self assessment on yourself, and there are people or your peers who will do an assessment for you, you will all realize that some of you have, say, A qualities, some of you have B, some of you have C, some of you have D, right? What I've learned over a period of time, that once you know that this is my strength and this is my weakness, right? Once you know and you're very clear about it, right? Anyone I ask you, you should know, yes, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and you're very clear about it at your heart and things. Then your strength becomes your best quality. And what you should do over a period of your entire life is continue to work on your strength, because your strength is what will get you elsewhere. It'll move you up. It'll differentiate you from someone else, because it's your strength which is your biggest quality. The weakness. Now, a lot of people say, I'll convert my weakness into strength. Let me tell you, doesn't happen. If you think you can convert your weakness into strength, in reality, it does not happen, because your weakness will remain your weakness. We are human beings. We do a certain thing at certain point of time, we get a firing. At home also, for example, we make a room in a certain way. Our mother and father will come and tell us, this is not right, this is not right, this is not. We will make a change. After 1 week, we again go back to the same old things, right? Because it's our character, right? If we are short tempered, we will get angry at small things. Someone will tell us this is not the right quality. We will stay quiet. Over a period of time, again, we'll go back into short temper. But if you know your weakness, what you can do is you can avoid getting into that platform or into that situation. So if you know that you get angry at small things, then avoid conflicts. If there's a conflict happening, stay out of it. Because once you're into it, you will go. Nobody can say, right? So stay out of it. So I think in my answer to this is, a good quality is knowing your strengths and weaknesses and working on your strengths and avoiding getting into a situation where your weakness is highlighted, right? But knowing that part is the most critical part, because 90% of the times we don't admit our failures or weaknesses. So we should first learn to admit to have the best quality in a man.
So last question from the Hyderabad campus. I think this was a part of your speech also. You have already said something about this, but the question is how the industry would be after 3 years when we graduate in 2025.
Right.
And in your point of view, since we see the changes every year, so that we can prepare ourselves accordingly. So for this batch.
I think we always like to remain optimistic, right? And we are hoping that we will not have a COVID part 2 or COVID part 3 coming our way like you see in movies, right? So that's something always beyond our control. But with the way we see things right now, with the supply of hotels, and I was telling the previous batch, it takes 2 to 3 years or 4 years or 5 years for hotels to build. And supply of hotels have just started. Like the building has started now. And there's a huge amount of hotels opening up in the year of 24, 25, 26, 27, right? Because they're building now. Like you can't build a hotel today and open tomorrow, right? It takes time. So what is happening today is a huge amount of supply coming up in the next few years. And when the supply is huge, what they require is a huge amount of talented and manpower, right? So I feel that you should prepare the next 3 years, preparing yourself for the campus, on-the-job training, attitude, spend time with exposure in hotels. Of course, we will also help you with some sessions. And when you are out after 3 years, I think there will be a huge opportunity within India itself and outside also where you can apply, right? Because there will be a lot more jobs coming in. And this is a place where uh, we require people. It's not like IT or other places where we can cut down with technology, right? Because people want human touch, right? And all the guests, you also go out for your personal holidays, right? You don't like hotels where you don't interact with someone. You want interaction. So I think it's a golden opportunity. There's a lot of excitement, and I think the industry is also innovating itself. They're finding we are getting into new, like for example, we've started moving into a role called quality managers, which never existed before, right? There's a focus on quality is back. We are looking at hygiene in a big way because of COVID. We are now investing a lot on hygiene, right? We have hygiene managers who are coming and checking hotels, right? So there are a lot of new roles also coming in. Of course, the traditional roles will always remain, and what remains common is the guest and the associate relation. That will never change, right? So I think you should all be very excited for something really good happening.
So there is one question from my end, last one. So recently, we all know, like they all know that we have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Marriott, and we are having a Marriott this thing, like extended campus also. So looking forward for help and support from the hotel. I think there'll be people coming and addressing our students, and like you said about hygiene and maybe the revenues management, so where we are lacking.
No, we will have head of the departments of various fields, whether it's revenue, whether it's sales and marketing, HR, food and beverage, mixologist, people from the chefs, people from front office, people from guest relations. So many roles are being played, right? And we will try to have people from each role to come and give you a perspective, right? And I think they will be able to tell you real life experiences and what it takes to become or to go into those lines, right? So I think that'd be a great thing. And I was telling that this is going to be a great experience because when we were in colleges, we never got this experience of having people from the hotels and teaching us, right? We only used to learn when we used to go there on the job training. So I think this will be a great exposure. It's one of its kind. And I think it'll benefit you guys a lot. It'll benefit hotels and it makes us come closer, right? And for that, we understand each other. And then tomorrow, we say that you need to get Marriotized, into the culture. So we are trying to prepare you now only with that culture, right? So that by the time you are ready to face the interviews, you know the culture of the company, you know what it takes to be successful. And once you're into it, right, there's no looking back because Marriott allows you to grow phenomenally well. There are a lot of people who started as associates, today are successful general managers, vice presidents, and so on, right? And they're moving into different sectors, they move into different hotels, and we like to grow people from within, right? So it's about getting in first, right?
Thank you so much. And the first step has already been taken because this for this winter, you have already recruited 30, 40 plus only for the Kolkata for this industrial training. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, and all the best.
To add on, thank very much, Sumit. That was a really, really thought-provoking, not just for Calcutta Boys, but also for the other students of the other campus who logged in. Thank you. And I think we at IIHM also look at creating the ladies and gentlemen of tomorrow, not just general hoteliers. So you're having a chopsticks session from today, I believe. So from today, we are starting a small session on how to eat with chopsticks. These guys will be learning.
Nice.
Because if you're going to work in the industry, that you're serving the best of the food, you need to know how to eat it the way the world eats it. So we are investing a lot on this kind of out of the syllabus things and to make them more groomed on what you use, because this is also part of your grooming their tickets. So all the very best and thanks very much for your time. Thank you for having me. It was lovely to have you with us. Thank you. Thank you.
For a great hospitality career, call 98310 50,000.